Hello and welcome to Super Body Sunday. My name is Ivan Ramos Soler. I am the communications secretary for the Puerto Rican Independence Party in the diaspora. We are very excited because we have a series of events that have been titled Super Body Sunday. That includes several watch parties tonight. Um, Diaspora PIP is hosting a watch party in Seattle, Washington tonight. That is going to be held very close to the Seahawks Stadium. So the community there is very, very excited. We are also going to, as part of the Super Bowl group that we have created, we have several organizations doing very, very exciting events, particularly watch parties. We have one in New York City, which is co-sponsored by the Body Collective and Victory in Puerto Rico. What is really cool about that event, and I think it's going to be very well attended, is that they are supporting the people of Cabo Rojo in their struggle against Esencia and the Esencia Project. As you would imagine, the point of the Super Body projects is to raise awareness of the issues facing Puerto Rico, um, to advance the cause of Puerto Rican independence, but also to bring to light many of the problems that are the result of United States colonialism. So the event in New York is going to be awesome. Please follow them online, follow us online. They are going to be putting out information about what's happening in Cabo Rojo. We can talk about that a little bit later. And also, they're looking to raise funds for the people of Cabo Rojo. Then we have a party in Philadelphia hosted by Philly Boricuas, a local community group that does great work in the city of Philadelphia. And last but not least, I will be in the party in Orlando, Florida, hosted by Flori Boris. And hopefully later on tonight or maybe tomorrow, we will be showing some pictures and live streams of what goes on in those parties. In addition to that, as you can see, we're having a lot of educational events, a lot of posts, a lot of live streams and things of this nature. Today, I wanted to bring a Puerto Rican artist, a filmmaker, a musician, someone who is out there in the street in Puerto Rico making art, living art, that can tell us a little bit about the political situation in Puerto Rico and how artists like him use different mediums to express our nationhood, to express our who we are as a national culture. Puerto Rico is a Latin American nation. Um, Please understand that Tito is right now in Lima, Peru, visiting Lima, Peru. So we our guest, without further ado, is Tito Roman Rivera. He is a filmmaker, a musician, um, and an artist in many other mediums. So, Tito, can you please say hello to us? I'm sorry. I am really sorry for the long introduction. Hello, Tito.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you some point of view of our political situation. And I'm happy in this moment we are celebrating our proud of being Puerto Rican and expose our culture to the whole world and United States.
So, yes, absolutely. And one of the main points that I'm making, I'm trying to make, people are a lot of people are well intentioned. Obviously, we have people that, are not going to be even listen to Benito tonight, but there are a lot of well intentioned people and they really want to know more about Puerto Rico. And this is why we're here. Tito has two outstanding documentaries. One is about the father of our homeland, Ramon Emeterio Betances, that you can access free on YouTube. It's excellent. Okay, we need to learn who Ramon Emeterio Betances is if we want to learn about Puerto Rico and about our history. He's the father of our homeland. I know people get stuck in a lot of other important figures, some of them in entertainment, but no figure is more important than Betances. But in addition to that, he has a fairly new documentary that has been very well received. It's called Sikis. It talks about the psyche or the frame of mind of the colonized and how Puerto Ricans have been basically our minds have been led to think in a way that is really warped or really wrong, to think that being subservient it's the okay thing, being allow one to be subjugated to another political power, that is okay. and somehow wanting to be free or wanting to be independent and make the decisions for ourselves. That is abnormal. And that is really messed up. So, Tito, tell us about the documentary and tell us a little bit about how in Sikis you talk about how that has affected the self-esteem of almost everyone on the island for generations. Can you talk a little bit about that? And it is a very lengthy topic. So let's try to do our best with the time
Yes.
that we have.
Well, our documentary, Psyches, a decolonial turn, talks about the psychological impact that have the colonialism in the Puerto Rican people, in the Puerto Rican country, in the Puerto Rican nation. So in that documentary, we discuss the different impact, negative impact, and the traumas that provokes colonialism. And we present the problem, but we also present different ways to come out of that situation. And the three flags that we raise in that documentary is the rescue of our real history, because one of the moves that every colonizer do is begin to to put away our own story, and that affects our self-esteem because we don't know from where we come, and we don't feel proud of what we are because we don't know our own history. So one first point is to rescue our real history of Puerto Rican nation. After that, create a critical thinking culture in our people. It's very important to develop a critical thinking in our nation, because the colonialism always imposed the idea that we have to be obi at the colonizer power, and we have to respect the American flag in our own land when they are colonizing, while they are colonizing, killing us and being violent through us. So it's very important to develop that critical thinking. And the third flag that we raise with our documentary is to develop a new mentality in Puerto Rico, a new Puerto Rican mentality to create a new nation, free of colonialism thinking and colonialism culture. That way of thinking keep us, estancados. I don't know how to say it in English, estancados.
Yeah, we'll be. I would say stuck. We're stuck. We're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
stagnant.
The colonialism stuck the thinking of a nation. So we want to develop a new way of understand the life as Puerto Ricans as a nation in the Caribbean. So that 3 points are very important in our documentary. We develop the discussion, understanding the traumas generated by the colonial experience, rescue our own story, and develop critical thinking, pensamiento crítico, desarrollar un pensamiento crítico, and also create that new mentality for the new Puerto Rico. But it's a collective and individual conversation. You do it by yourself, but after you do it by yourself, you share with your community, you share with your family, and you struggle to create a new mentality, a collective mentality of what Puerto Rico should be, what Puerto Rico can be in a free way, in a free nation, as a free nation.
Oh, that's very exciting. That's excellent. And yes, and that is what we're trying to do in some ways, all of us using social events. It's okay to use social events to bring awareness. And we've always done it historically. We're going to have someone talk about Bomba music afterwards. Sara Silva is a performer, a dancer from Seattle, Washington, and she's going to be talking to Genaro Abram. And one of the points that they're going to be making is that Bomba was a music of resistance, but it was also music to party. And what happened if one learned from ethnomusicologists is that actually they needed to have a party as an excuse to conspire and create awareness in everyone in the plantations to start rebellions and to organize. And that we have inherited that. It's part of our uh, with our history. We need to take it out and raise awareness. And hopefully, we're doing what Tito is telling us to do in that documentary on Super Bowl Sunday. That was excellent. I love what you said about it being stagnant, the culture being paralyzed, stagnant, or stuck, like you said. Because in 1914, I think it was, James Joyce wrote his first book um, short stories, and that's the recurrent theme. You talk about all the literary criticism; it's always about how everything's stagnant, everything's paralyzed. Well, guess what happened? Ireland was colonized by the British, and just a few years later, only about 2 years later, in 1916, the uprising began, and then in 1921, the War of Independence began. So it's kind of like the world is paralyzed at that point of James Joyce, but now I understand it thanks to Tito. Thank you very much. That's awesome. But let's talk about, and I think we really need to talk about the arts in general. As a living thing. Tito, tell us a little bit about any exciting projects that you see out in Puerto Rico. Tell us what the younger generation is doing in terms of blending politics and music. Um, this is, I'm really curious. I really want to know, and I hope people out there are curious as I am, because I know Bad Bunny's not the only one. As a matter of fact, what Bad Bunny has done is he's brought all these people on board that were already doing great things, right?
Yes, yes. There are many projects, interesting projects going on in Puerto Rico that the people should know about it and listen that kind of music. Comes to my mind El Hijo de Boriquén. He was the principal singer of the Los Pleneros de la Cresta, but he decided to make rap music and mix it with different rhythms of the Caribbean. And he's working with a very nice team, a very nice musician from Puerto Rico. So it's very interesting to listen the music of El Hijo de Boriquén. I can I can talk about Emil Martinez. He's my friend, and I admire his work a lot. His songs, the way he sings, and the way he writes. And Elese, that is the musician that he's working with him. They are making a really good job. I hope the people go to the different platforms and listen to the music of El Hijo de Boriquén. And also, it's very important the work that Taller Toca Plena from Comerío is doing around the plena, the cultural work that they are developing, and the workshops for the young people to learn how to play plena in different parts of the island and different parts of the world. They have been traveling to Colombia, and they this year are planning to go to Argentina and Uruguay to spread out the knowings about the plena, Puerto Rican plena. So Taller Toca Plena have a new album in all the platforms. So I invite you to listen. Taller Toca Plena. You put it like that. Taller Toca Plena. If you can put it in the screen so that people can understand. So maybe those two is comes to my mind right now that I can talk to you about. And we are working. I am working in music, but it's just for fun. But we put some letters, some good letters, to create that new thinking of the Puerto Rican nation. So I appreciate you to give this space so we can talk about of the different things that we are doing in the films, in the music, in the workshop with Plena. Please follow our page Plena Mania in Instagram so you can know more about Plena Puerto Riqueña and the new groups that are coming up to keep this culture alive forever.
That is awesome, Tito. That is great. I We didn't rehearse this at all, and I was nodding my head because I would have said El Hijo de Boriken too. I think that's a great recommendation. But you also, what's the name of that website again? Plena Mania?
Well, Plena Mania is our Instagram page. It's a community of Plena. Everyone that interested in Plena movement, that's the page you have to follow, Plena Mania. And when you follow Plena Mania, you're gonna see Taller Toca Plena because we work together, we support each other, and we are creating community in Puerto Rico and internationally. The Taller Toca Plena is going also this year to Japan. So they are doing a good job, and when you listen to the album, you're gonna love it. They make a great job with this album they released recently. Yeah, they presented in the Christmas, but it's a good album for the whole year.
Awesome. That's great. Oh, I love the recommendations, but I have to give you a little bit. You're very humble, Tito. I think that your song on De Bandera is awesome. I love it. I've been putting it with some of my promos of this event, and I hope you don't mind that I use it. I think we should use it in all our events, all of our. It's called On De Bandera, which means wave flag, for those who might not know that. And I think it doesn't get the maybe the exposure it needs because Tito likes to create controversy because we need in a society where we have been colonialized for all of our existence, particularly in the last 127 years by the largest empire in the history of mankind. We need to shake things up. So it's a great
Well,
song on De Bandera. Look it up. It's on YouTube. Um, and I
yeah,
have been playing it. But that leads me to my next question that I wanted to bring, and that is, what kind of challenges artists that are pro-independence and are political in Puerto Rico face and have faced in the past?
I
Also,
think is that the theme of exposure, and also that we don't have the maybe the power to publish, like make publicity of our music, and it stays in a small circle, and many people don't listen to it because it doesn't have the opportunity to be presented in the different channels, the massive channels. It's always like very independent. So it would be nice to people understand that you have to do the work. If you like a song, share it with other people. Talk about that kind of music to other people, because there's not gonna be other way to the people know it. Because if you won't listen in the radio, you won't see video clips. It's very difficult to have video clips because you need money to create video clips. So in this moment, it's very important to create community, and we protect and defend our independent artists, like promoting their music. So it's very important to share it with our communities, with our families. So that maybe can be a way to help the independent artists in Puerto Rico.
yes, but tell us a little bit. I remember growing up in Puerto Rico, and there were certain artists that were never on the airwaves, and it was very hard for them to find a place to play. And actually, uh, Maggie Marrero wrote a book recently called Prohibido Cantar, which chronicles the persecution against many of our artists, particularly musicians, historically. But we're not talking that long ago. We're talking about 1970s and 1980s, mostly up to all through the 90s. Is that right, Tito? And I have seen, like, for example, during the mayor, we had a mayor in San Juan, Santini. Certain artists were not allowed to play in some of the venues. Is that true? What can you tell us about that?
Well, that is part of the power, the control of the power. They know that the music is very powerful and can provoke the thinking, the critical thinking of the people. So that's why they don't want to promote and give the exposure to that kind of music. They prefer like commercial music that doesn't talk about the problems and the situation, and doesn't make the people think more about the political, economical, and social situations. So it's part of the problem. always it's gonna be like that until they have the power. So we have to keep pushing our culture and our artists, our independent artists, by our own way, and keep the struggle, because if we don't have the power, we cannot do much about that. Only keep the struggle to change that reality. So we have la esperanza. You know how you say esperanza in English?
The hope.
We have the hope that one day the things are going to be different, and our culture is going to be uh, as the first, as the first nuestra cultura va a ser una de las primeras tareas cuando tengamos el poder gubernamental, que podamos promover desde arriba, desde la oficialidad, nuestra propia cultura y enseñarle desde temprano a los niños, a los más jóvenes, nuestra verdadera cultura, y de la misma manera los músicos independientes de la música nuestra.
Tito, gracias. I'm glad you said that in Spanish because it came from your heart and it's really important. With that, we're going to finish and I am going to translate it the best that I can. Culture we will only serve culture properly if we can bring la esperanza al poder, as we said in the 2024 campaign, bring this sense of hope to power. That was the what the La Alianza and the Puerto Rican candidates and the Puerto Rican Independence Party candidates were using as their slogan or motto. We bring that hope, bring it to power, so that way we can really do the service that we need to do to our culture and place it in the proper place in Puerto Rican in the Puerto Rican society and in Puerto Rican life. Or artists deserve that, or people deserve that. To have that level of recognition is key. I am going to thank Tito again for giving us his time. He's extremely busy in a lot of projects. He is traveling right now. And I want to say that I want everyone to stay in touch, stay involved in the Puerto Rican Independence Party in the diaspora. We are doing great work. We're helping to take back our nation, essentially. We did very well. We had a historical election last year. Bad Bunny, yes, endorsed our candidates, endorsed Juan Dalmau, our candidate for president, and all the candidates of what we call La Alianza, which is a greater coalition formed between el Partido Independentista and el Movimiento Victoria Ciudadana. Okay, Tito, what do you got there for us?
Mira, tú sabes que le hicieron una entrevista. Remember that El País, the newspaper from Spain, made an interview a few years ago to Bad Bunny.
Yes.
In that interview, he said, no, papi, los gringos no son dioses. Do you remember that?
Absolutely. I'll never forget.
So we have plena that says, no, papi, no, no, papi, no. Los gringos no son dioses, no, papi, no. Mi coro, no, papi, no. No, papi, no. Los gringos no son dioses, no, papi, no.
Awesome. Okay, so I don't know if you guys got it. Well, that's what Benito said in an interview in Spain, eventually, which goes to what we're Tito's theme, is saying Americans are not gods. You know, they're not, you know, these are not people that we should just like bow down to. We need to get on our feet by ourselves and create a self-sufficient, strong Puerto Rican nation. Okay, so I made a mistake of my previous presentation. I can't believe Tito didn't say anything about it. It is kind of actually funny. I said that Bad Bunny endorsed Juan Dalmau for president. I'm pretty sure I said that. It's anyways, as you know, Bad Bunny endorsed Juan Dalmau for governor of Puerto Rico. I just wanted to point that out because there is a lot of confusion, and this is one of the reasons why we do this. We're trying to educate people. We're trying to encourage people to learn more about Puerto Rico and about our colonial condition. Yes, we are a Latin American nation, but we do not have presidents. We are a colony, and we have governors under a colonial system. If you want to learn more about that, you can always log into independentpuertorico.org and learn more about it and follow us. But I am very excited about the next guest that we have. She is going to talk about some very, very pressing matters, very important topic. She is a state representative from the state of Minnesota. Her name is Maria Isa Vega. She is also known as the Rep That Raps. She's also a musician and has, I believe, some albums out there. So we couldn't find a better person to be on this event. She's a musician. She has been on the front lines fighting ICE, protecting our communities. And I want to give her a big welcome. It is really important that, yes, this is a party. This is a great event. But as we have explained, we have a tradition in Puerto Rico of using our music and our culture to express our resistance against injustice. So without further delay, I want to welcome a representative from Minnesota, Maria Isa Perez-Vega. Hello.
Saludos a todos los boricuas que están por ahí directamente de Minnesota, o como yo le gusta decir, Sota Rico. Greetings to everybody who's tuned in. Welcome straight from Minnesota, St. Paul's capital city. As I'd like to say, I'm a proud Puerto Rican of our diaspora, and it's great to see the solidarity while we continue to resist, utilizing our people's, our ancestors' tools of resistance of peace, which is our tambores, ¿verdad? Y la música. And so I'm proud to be Boricua always, desde la luna, a coquí in the frozen tundra, while we're at the front lines demanding ICE out.
Okay, so now thank you very much. I must say that Maria Isa has been one of those political representatives in the diaspora that has always expressed very strong solidarity with our independence movement and with the causes in Puerto Rico that matter to create a homeland that is free from colonialism and at the very least get a government right now that works, that is not corrupt and can take care of the immediate needs right now. I saw this past week, for example, San Juan had many areas had no power, no water. There were over 70-something thousand people without electricity, just to give you an idea. But we need to talk about ICE. We need to talk about Minnesota. Representative Perez-Vega, can you give us an update? I know we're getting ready to go to the parties this afternoon, but can you give us a rundown of what's happening and how we can stay involved in this important struggle to defend our Latin American brothers and sisters that are being targeted by ICE, as well as nations from throughout the world, people from nations throughout the world that deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. Can you give us an update, please?
Absolutely. So we have been targeted specifically by our federal government, the state of Minnesota. And I represent the capital city, in which we are a sanctuary city. And I've carried and authorized and passed law for immigration rights, whether it's from public safety initiatives like driver's licenses for all to affordable health care, which was taken away in the last legislative session. And that for us, as legislators and as Minnesotanos, felt that our immigrant neighbors were already being attacked with that law passing through. And now we're seeing the surge, the seas of targeting our immigrant communities from the cities and the metro areas all the way to the farms that are 3 hours, 4 hours away from the predominant immigrant communities that have had over 40 years of organizing, opening up solidarities for resources to be able to have even immigrants become our mayors of our city, such as my mayor of St. Paul, her former representative, former colleague of my mayor, who's among refugees. So we're seeing the targets of folks being detained who actually have status of citizenship, who are naturalized. We're seeing kidnappings and abductions right here on our blocks of American citizens and of undocumented neighbors who have not been given the constitutional rights in the process of fighting for their immigration status. What you're seeing is, I mean, the world saw the eyes of Liam Conejo. So talk about celebrating Bad Bunny. It was the resistance of our people fighting at the front lines and demanding that Liam Conejo and his father were returned. But there's hundreds of those children in Minnesota that have been lost and detained in the system that have rightful the capacity of the federal law to be able to go to court, go through that immigration process that's being denied. And we're also seeing the tragic violence from federal ICE agents that have killed and taken the lives away of American citizens like Renee Good, who was legally observing, and like Alex Preddy, a VA nurse who was my dad, who's a Boricua Vietnam veteran, who, received care and service from Alex Preddy at our Veterans Hospital in Minneapolis. And we're seeing the wrongful detainments. I mean, this is a day by day. Folks are just coming into apartments, into businesses without judiciary signed warrants. And it's been violent. And we are here trying to organize continuously, whether it's getting resources like food supplies, medical supplies, because en realidad, everybody is scared. Everybody is scared. Our most vulnerable communities of immigrant neighbors don't leave their homes. And our neighbors of citizens are being targeted just by the discrimination of racial profiling, which our Supreme Court, under the opportunity of vocalizing and enabling of Donald Trump, the U.S. president, giving them that enablement of hate. So lo que vemos aquí, I mean, you have Boricuas that are being detained and pulled over. I mean, since last year when we heard about the Boricuas being detained in Milwaukee, which is a 4-hour drive from Minnesota, right? From St. Paul, from Minneapolis. So esto es ongoing, but we are continuing to unify through our resistance movements of peace. And as a Boricua, I have been coordinating efforts of arts and cultural and ensuring, I'm very dedicated as a mother to a daughter named Rosa, that we incorporate what our ancestors did so that we can be survivors of the injustices due to the federal targets that have been embedded in our history as Puerto Ricans, and sharing that knowledge with our tribal communities that are being targeted unlawful. This is Dakota indigenous land. And so connecting those dots to be of resources, because I'm a Boricua, because my families are Puerto Rican, and we have this, so and say, second-class citizenship if you're born there. And now we're even being targeted as legislators with these federal agents outside of our offices. So we're doing what we can. Estamos manteniendo la paz. Y tenemos como Boricua a large community in different areas of work, whether it's as elected, whether it is as immigration lawyers and entrepreneurs doing what they can to keep our businesses open.
Well, thank you, Maria Isa, or I should say Representative Perez-Vega, for your courageous fight. We have been following you. For those that haven't, you should start following her on social media. She has been very active protecting our communities. We want to congratulate her on this day. And we want to give her hopefully some energy as we party, for her to continue, because I think this music and all this dance will give her energy. I know that it has, from what I have seen, people are overwhelmed. It has been overwhelming. Absolutely. And from past struggles, I can only remember that, that's one thing that we really can do. I remember during the days of Vieques, I always used to tell people, if there isn't much we can do from far away, but just if they see our message that we are there, like we're here today saying we're going to have a party and we're going to make, you're in our hearts. We're going to have events. We're going to get together in a community. Let them know that we're in our hearts, because it can be very, very draining. I think it was very draining. Like she was saying, her dad's nurse at the Veterans Hospital was murdered by ICE. We all saw that on TV, and it happened to be someone that is close to Maria Isa's family. So thank you so much for being with us.
Gracias.
You're welcome. And hopefully we have another time when we can talk in more depth about what's going on. And yes, the next guest is going to be talking about Bomba music and resistance. And she's going to be playing Bomba tonight. We hope that she will. These things are somewhat spontaneous as part of the Super Bowl party, the Super Bowl party that Diaspora PIP is having in in the city of Seattle, Washington. All right.
I
Thank
do
you.
want to highlight, Ivan, that I have a Bomba song that folks can support, and you can name your price. It's on Bandcamp. It's called Que Se Vaya el Hielo, and it's a original Bomba hip hop song that you can find, and I'll make sure you get it. For those who want to donate to the local resources of immigrant actions and defense, I appreciate that support, and I'm utilizing every resource that I can give with the energy inspired by our Boricua diaspora culture on the island. Muchas gracias al PIP que me han llamado y mandaron mensajes para estar en solidaridad con nosotros y nuestros movimientos de resistencia. Que viva la bomba y que viva la cultura boricua y que viva el Bad Bunny.
Awesome. Send me that song. I'm going to see how I play it somewhere, somehow. That is
Absolutely.
great. So
Que
you're
se
the
vaya el
second
hielo.
guest. You're this Se Va El Hielo. That's awesome. You're the second guest that has given me a song. Tito also gave me a plena. You're going to hear it pretty soon. All right. Thank you again. Bye.
Adelante.
We're going to go to Seattle, Washington, home of the Seahawks. Genaro Abraham, or vice president, is going to be talking to a Puerto Rican bomba dancer and performer by the name of Sara Silva.
Hello, everyone. I hope all is well. For those who don't know me, my name is Genaro Abraham. I'm the vice president of the Puerto Rican Independence Party in the diaspora. We're here. I'm joined with Sara Silva, who is right now in Seattle, Washington. I'm currently in Spokane, Washington. We're having a brief little interview in preparation for the Super Bowl, but more particularly our activity in Seattle called the Super Body Sunday, an activity that's there to underscore the importance of our nation and the importance of the resistance in our nationhood. For those who don't know, Sara Silva is originally from Puerto Rico. She's going to talk to us a little about some of the cultural products she's been endeavoring in the city of Seattle and why these projects have always been important for the resistance of Puerto Rico's nationhood. So, Sara, without further ado, would you like to present yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Sara Silva, as Genaro said. I'm an Afro-Puerto Rican, also dancer and singer. I have been part of the Bomba community for almost 15 years, being very active, being part of different groups, performing, and also as part of advocating for Afro-Puerto Rican culture and music.
That's amazing, Sara. Well, I can't thank you enough for being here with us and sharing a little bit of your experience and the background that you have when it comes to, not only in Puerto Rico, but the things that continuously connect you to Puerto Rico and the struggles that are ongoing there. So a lot of people think of bomba music as traditional music or dance. From your perspective, what is bomba really, and why does it matter today, especially in the diaspora?
So bomba, the history of bomba comes with a very with a wide spectrum of experiences. Like bomba is a Puerto Rican music, but also was born during the time of enslavement. So bomba was one of the vehicles that the enslaved people had in Puerto Rico to manage their sorrows, to communicate between each other, also as a form of resistance. And that sense of and spirit of that genre hasn't died today. It's still a way of our community, of our people to express themselves, to reaffirm our identity, and also to express our discontent, our happiness. So it's still very active and it's still very involved in our community. And it's always not necessarily always accepted in every space. So it's still a way of resistance. So that's what it's still relevant. That's one of the reasons that it's still very relevant today. And yeah, it appeals to our souls. So it's a very way to be connected to who we are.
Well, that's amazing. So historically, then Bomba emerged as a space of both resistance and celebration. Then I'm assuming, if that's the case, how do you think that idea that Puerto Rican culture is just a party? Is it really always just a party when we're dancing bomba, or what's really going on behind the scenes when we dance and sing bomba?
So there's a lot of history about how bomba became part of our cultural experience. When slavemen was brought to Puerto Rico, they not necessarily came from the same places. Like they have different languages. They were from different regions, and they started a way to communicate between each other through music. And bomba was one of those ways of communication. Like there was enslavement in different plantations or in different areas. They not necessarily in the same land that they were working, they were speaking the same languages, and music was one of the ways they have one day during the week to be part of, like, to reunite to each other. They were like they had the opportunity just to relax for a second, and they used that time very meaningful to express, like to find ways to connect with different groups that were near in the island, and that way to connect and to communicate what's bomba. So Naris hasn't always been a way of celebration. It's always like it's also has been a way to be in contact with each other, and also to plan different ways for us to reach like freedom. And today is still the same way. Like we do use bomba as a way of celebration, but also it's part of every one of our protests. It is part of every if we had an impact about any political event. Bomba is a way that like is one of the first things that will be part of that active participation of the community, because music is like that rhythm that keeps people with the spirit up to be able to fight and being able to like maintain long distance running. So I think it's still relevant today as an act, not only as a part of celebration, but it's also part of how we fight and how we reach for our freedom.
That's fascinating. I don't think a lot of people really think about those things when they're listening to Bomba, which kind of brings me to this question that I've been curious about. So Bomba lyrics themselves, what's actually being said, and Puerto Rican music more broadly, I would assume, um, often is very political. I mean, we hear a lot of the Bad Bunny's lyrics, but we also see lyrics that come from Plena, that come from other music genres, right, that have an openly political tone to them. In a lot of senses, even though they were, adamantly political, sometimes they weren't always obviously political, right? So, do you see a continuation of that tradition today? Is music still a form of resistance in the present when you play bomba?
Definitely, specifically because the lyrics tells the people what is going on at the current moment. Like at some point, like we are talking today about bomba, but for example, Plena was the newspaper of the day. Like there was someone that needed to share with everyone that not necessarily has the literacy to read. They need to know what was going on, and Plena was one of those ways where people were starting to share what was what was going on day to day. And political things are affecting Puerto Ricans every day, so that will be part of things that we will start sharing through our songs and our lyrics. And currently it's still the same thing. Like we have a reality as a colony that like ask us to like reflect and talk about certain topics, and bomba was still a way to express those things through lyrics, to make consciousness about like what is the reality that we face as Puerto Ricans. And so it's still very active. It's genre that is connected with our reality and what the things that we experience like daily. So it's not something that we sing about love, but you won't hear more songs about the challenges and about the fight that we do more than other songs that are more joyful. If you pay attention to the lyrics and you just don't get along to the rhythm, like you will notice all the things that has been said that are like a way of fighting and a way of resistance of our community.
I love that. Well, it kind of brings me to this next question that about playing bomba in places like Seattle. So this is probably a very different experience than playing bomba in Puerto Rico, right? So what does it mean to practice and share bomba in a place like Seattle when you're probably one of the furthest corners away from, you're one of the most extreme parts of the United States when it comes to its territorial extension. You're very far away from Puerto Rico. So what changes when Bomba travels to Seattle, or what stays the same, and how do communities engage Bomba differently in your space than they would in Puerto Rico?
So that's a great question because I have experienced Bomba in both settings. Like I started Bomba when I was in college, and in Puerto Rico, that it was so organic. Like it was happening in every corner. Like I went out to hang out with my friends, and Bomba, there was probably going to be Bomba there. And then when I moved here in 2019, I think one of the greatest gift that the universe have gave me is that we had a Bomba community here, and that meant a lot. Having the thought about like having my culture and such a like important part of myself, like to being able to express that identity here in a place that it's so cold, that sometimes can feel so disconnected from each other. Bomba is about community. Like Bomba, you cannot play Bomba by just one person. Like Bomba requires a lot of elements that are community elements. Like you need people to sing, you need people to play, you need people to dance, to all interact with each other. And in a world where we are like limiting the space of people to be able to connect, like that is such a change about like having a space where you create something that like appeals to your soul, also like give you that sense of identity in a space that you're so far away. So it's a very, I would say it brings a lot of elements into life, and I think it's a great way to be alive and feel so connected also to the island, being so far away. Like, yeah.
Thank you for that, and for that profound response. And I can't thank you enough for joining us today to talk to us a little about your experience in Seattle playing Bomba, but also how this actually transcends sometimes the personal experiences that we have in Puerto Rico, and they connect us with community. Here's one last question: are we going to be dancing Bomba on the Super Bowl Sunday?
I hope so. If I'm there, there's always like my wish that we start dancing, and Bomba is like it's my thing. And yeah, it's a great way for me to feel very Puerto Rican and feel very connected to our roots. So I hope that that's a thing that will happen there. Yeah, we will be dancing for sure.
Y bueno, mi gente, if you are in the Seattle area or anywhere that's remotely close to it, today at 1:30 p.m., we will be having a Super Bowl watch party, a pregame party where we will be celebrating Puerto Rico's nationhood. If you are in the Seattle area, we would love to see you. Sara and I will be there. It is at 606 Maynard Avenue South, Seattle, Washington. From 1:30 to 3:30, we will have various activities, including a special message from Juan Dalmau himself, the Secretary General of the Puerto Rican Independence Party. We hope to see you there. We'll also have Puerto Rican food and drinks for suggested donations. This is thanks to Meet Patria Food Truck. It's going to be a blast. We're going to have a lot of fun. And at the same time, we're going to continue this trajectory of treating our nationality and as a form of political resistance, but also as a form of celebration. We hope to see you there.